YouTube is live. And we've got to get a Facebook going live. Alright, you ready?
Sure.
Alrighty. Live. Welcome. Solid Sports Podcast with your hosts, Sean and Jason.
Huh?
Welcome to the show.
Oh,
And
okay.
hold on, I gotta raise this up. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. You ready?
Yeah.
Alright, let's do this thing. My bad. That's actually the wrong show. Hold on 1 second. Alright, here we go. Welcome back to the Solomon Sports Podcast with your host, Jason.
Laid out of weight among essences black women in foot awardees. Huh. Looks neat.
What are you reading?
Check that out. Huh?
Black actresses in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Cool, man. What's all that about? Tell me that, dude. Fill me in, man.
Well, I just found the link. I just thought it might be interesting.
Oh, yeah?
They had Tiffany Haddish and Lena Waithe in it, so anyway. Are we doing the show?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the porch. So, welcome to everybody on Facebook and on YouTube. We thank you all for tuning in. All you on podcast land, welcome back to the show. How's
Hey,
everything been
what's
going?
up?
How's everything been going, man?
Oh, this, that, a little bit of the other, and what have yous. Nothing near as exciting as what you've been doing since we last recorded.
Oh, man,
So-
catching planes.
Yeah, why don't you share with us? What have you been up to?
So, man,
How you doing?
so my daughter got approved for a Make-A-Wish
Yeah.
and it was going to Disney. And so they gave us a week-long trip to Disney World.
Disney World. I was
as-
going to say, clarify, Disney World, not Disneyland.
Yeah, Disney World as well as Universal Studios and SeaWorld.
Very cool.
So I got this really awesome Captain America mug, which I'm very excited about. I got this from the Island of Adventure, Universal Studios, one of the two parks.
It looks like it holds a whole lot more coffee.
It
than
really
the last
does.
one. Yeah.
This is the biggest mug I've ever owned.
The last coffee mug that your
Yes.
co-host.
I'm extremely excited about it. But and it was actually really, I was surprised it was only $15.
So what'd you do with the old coffee mug?
It actually broke.
Co-host?
There was a crack. There was a crack at the side of it, and so coffee would leak out all the time.
You broke the mug that you co-host.
Pretty much. So anyway, it was pretty
I
awesome.
guess that
though,
just
man.
means that you loved it so much that you used it all the time.
I actually did.
I just really bought you a really crappy gift and it broke.
No, I use it all the time.
Okay.
That my daughter's dropped it like 5 times.
Oh, okay.
So because they liked it too, and they they look at it and point out, look,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the Hulk.
Oh,
It's
yeah. All right.
So but yeah, man. So took flight for the very first time, an actual flight, not like took flight. But I got on an airplane for the very first time. The whole family,
Oh,
the whole family for the first time got on an airplane,
Okay.
and I was terrified. On the way to Florida, we had turbulence. I was nauseous.
Oh.
My daughter said her ears were hurting, and it was a cram-packed plane.
Mm-hmm.
So a ton of people up there, no extra
Yeah.
space.
Right.
And so it wasn't the greatest. It was the very first time on there.
Uh-huh.
So it was just, it was really rough, and it was early in the morning.
Did you have a window seat or an aisle? Or were
Well,
you like right in the middle?
I was in the aisle because my 2 youngest daughters were beside me,
Sure.
and then in front of me were my wife. She had the baby, which was a lab child,
Okay.
and then my niece Brooklyn, and then there was another lady who was there right beside my wife.
Uh-huh.
And then on the way back, we're in the airport waiting to come, catch the plane back to RDU.
Right.
The same woman's right there, catching
Wow.
the same flight back to North
That's
Carolina.
funny.
She said, "Didn't I sit beside you on the plane?" Well, I know you couldn't forget that because my daughter was pretty intensely
She was
upset.
vocal, huh?
She was vocal. So anyway, it was good, man. Great experience. I just gotta say, if you ever able to donate to Make a Wish, it's an
Yeah,
incredible
please do.
thing. Give Kids the World in Florida is the place we stayed at, and you get everything there is given to you for free. You get free meals. They clean your table and everything. They have a ton of volunteers that come through and help.
Very
I
cool.
saw a lot of what looked like youth groups that were coming in there and
Uh-huh.
helping, and so I was very grateful to have that experience. We
Nice.
hadn't washed a lot of dishes,
Right.
and it's like a duplex where people stay, so it's like a house cut in half.
Right.
But I mean, we couldn't hear anything in our neighbors. They couldn't hear anything on our side, and it was just really nice, man. They got in the kids' room. There is a bubble or not bubble bath, like a jacuzzi tub
Uh-huh.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they got that in the kids' room because the kids are the ones getting the wish.
I got that
So-
at my house, man. I just filled the bathtub with water.
And you sit in it. Yeah,
Uh,
we'll leave it at that. But anyway, man, it was fantastic, man. Oh, I thought that was the microphone messing up. You know what I just realized, man?
No, we're not recording.
We're not recording.
Uh,
We're not recording at all. I have to redo that all over again. You ready? Alright, quiet. Shh.
I hate you.
Oh, hold on.
It's still
Wait,
the wrong
wait.
one.
That was the wrong intro.
Again.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. Here's the right one. Man, I can't believe I did that.
I hate you, dude.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it really is.
Hold on, man. We're already recording. You can't be
Are we?
talking. Yeah,
Okay,
we are recording right now.
right now. Well, at least you give me
Welcome
time.
back to the Solid Sports Podcast with your host, Jason.
You didn't give me time.
I always give you time.
I was.
So just FYI for everybody listening in on the podcast, Facebook, I don't think anybody's watching right now. That's good because we actually just did a whole entire short intro and I wasn't recording any of it.
Yeah, so you're making me work twice as hard now.
I am.
Alright.
So just to fill everybody
Dude,
in.
I'm not even feeling it now. What's
Uh,
going on? What did you do?
man.
I didn't do anything this week. What did you do this week? You went to Disney World. Okay, that's great. By the way, he got a coffee mic. Alright. Moving
It's so
on to
funny,
the
man, because
news.
I've done this with. I did a full interviews with people on my Business with Boredom podcast, and like the whole interview was not recorded, or either that or the recording somehow got disrupted in its transitioning stage or whatever it was,
Uh-huh.
and then I'd have to do a whole other interview, but I would not be able to remember what we've already talked about, and so like it was really hard to do, and so having to redo a whole entire intro for this show is just.
It
Yeah.
seems like you need a new man on the ones and
So
twos.
y'all need to go back and watch the YouTube if you're on podcast land. Go check out the YouTube
It really
video.
wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good.
I wouldn't bother.
So in short, my daughter got a Disney World trip for Make a Wish,
Yeah.
and we took flights for the very first time.
Very cool.
Flight back into RDU sucked because the descent killed my ears the whole time.
It takes forever, man. It always does.
And was that it? Oh, and I got a brand new coffee mug, and I got the Black Panther Prelude comic,
I think
which is actually pretty awesome.
I think you say prelude.
Prelude, it don't matter. I pray all the time. Not really with
But
lewd
you,
though.
But you don't pre.
No, but here's the thing though. Here's the thing about it
Definitely
though.
not with lewds.
This prelude, quaalude, whatever it is,
Definitely not that.
it is actually going back to when Iron Man in the film announced he was, or Tony Stark announced he was Iron Man. So this is going back like way back prelude.
Wow.
This isn't like right before. This isn't in between like Civil War and Black Panther.
Wow.
So I was surprised at that, but it's pretty cool. And so King, his father's still alive. He's still
Okay.
king. He's just becoming Black Panther. The lady in the film in Civil War who is with him, whenever they run into Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, the car we know. He meets her for the first time in this comic, so it's pretty cool. If you get a chance to check it out, do so. It is worth getting. And yeah, so anyway, man. Before we jump into everything, I don't want to forget this week. Check out Covenant Eyes on SolomonSportsPodcast.com. You can check out Covenant Eyes If you sign with Covenant Eyes, they are a company that can help protect you against the online predators of the world, mainly internet, just online internet. And if you sign with Covenant Eyes
So,
today, if
so
you do
if
it,
there's a guy that's like patrolling the streets and he's like parked outside your kid's school, Covenant Eyes can't help. Sorry.
no, it can't help you with that. But if he is parked on your child's Facebook or, well, not, I don't know if it can do that.
I don't
There's a
know.
lot of things they can do. You should go check it out at
know.
SolomonSportsPodcast.com
So should you.
and our Facebook page. Yeah, man. So aside from that,
Actually, are we still affiliates? Because I got like some weird email recently about.
oh yeah, I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. The professionalism here is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, one of the interesting things about being in Florida this past week is I was kind of upset because I couldn't really. They did have a Super Bowl party, but I couldn't take my kids to it. So I watched the Super Bowl there in the little apartment place that we were in, and but I gotta say, it was probably my favorite Super Bowl ever.
Hey, I can't say that I've seen every Super Bowl since I can remember, but out of all the Super Bowls that I've ever seen, this is the best story ever. I mean, we're talking about Nick Foles, who second string quarterback about a year ago was contemplating just giving up playing football altogether, and he's sitting on the bench, and Wentz gets hurt, he's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I thought it was over when that happened. I was like,
I think everybody was there with you on that,
yeah.
And then Foles just starts putting it together. The team just gels.
I was completely thrown off.
I was blown away. And then this, I mean, the playoffs, okay, great. But then the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, not only did they execute the exact same play that the Patriots tried and epically failed.
Tom Brady missed the pass.
Right, but Nick catches it for a touchdown, the first quarterback touchdown in a Super Bowl.
That's awesome.
That was phenomenal, man. I mean, it was just such a great story. But I would have to say this though. I have to wonder though if some of that gelling that the team had isn't because the vast majority of them are Christians.
A lot of them are, man.
I mean, I think that has a lot to do with that attitude to say, okay, yeah, so Nick's our second string guy, but we know Nick. Nick's the man. We can do this. Sure. We know Nick. We're all good. It's all right. Once it's out, yeah.
I mean, he's not a saint, Nick, but.
Well, I mean, that's his nickname is Saint Nick. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
That's what they call him on the team. They call him Saint Nick. Yeah.
Top of my head, lame, corny jokes.
Yeah. Well, somebody else already beat you to it. So.
Yeah. Well, I saw an article a long time ago, and I don't know if you shared it with me, or I don't know where I saw it from. I thought it was online, but it was talking about how one of the players, like hours before, it might have been the Vikings. Was it the Vikings playoff game? I think it was the Vikings playoff game, where one of the people were getting baptized.
Oh, no,
and
swimming pool?
Yeah, and all of their Christian teammates, and there was a lot of them.
Right, yeah.
Like, there were probably a good 20 folks in there.
Right.
Now, it's not all starting people, but a lot of them were
but
starting
still.
folks,
Yeah.
including Carl Wentz, the coach. I don't know about the owner or not, but a lot of folks were in there. They were praying, and you could see them hold hands praying around the pool.
Right.
And I was like, man, that's
cool, isn't it?
I mean, because here's the thing, like, even if you lost, you won.
Right.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's the awesome thing about it. And I'm not saying that they won because they're, a lot of people are Christian on the team or whatever.
Yeah.
Because.
But I think that they played better as a team because of it.
I think there is a more of a family unit there.
Right.
And so in that type of a family unit, you're closer, you understand each other better.
Right.
And if somebody screws something up, you forgive them for it and you don't.
And you just keep going.
Yeah. Like, unlike, catching a pass,
Tom Brady.
which was very much needed for, And, but yeah, man, and I gotta say, like, I think I said it back whenever we did our top 5 teams or whatever, sports teams. Eagles is my number 3 football team.
They are now officially my number 3 football team.
Number 3.
They may have even pushed the Seahawks down a notch.
I'm telling you, man, and not because they won the Super Bowl, but because of the response
I
in
love
the post-game interviews.
I love the dynamics
all that
of this
stuff.
team. Yeah,
And,
I mean the owner was like the only one that didn't give God any glory in it, but
Who?
the owner
Oh, okay, okay.
didn't. Yeah, but Coach Foles, was it Ertz?
Yeah, Ertz.
Yeah.
There was a interview. They had an interview talking about him. I
Uh-huh.
know I shared that on Facebook, and it was him talking about his faith and how important it is
Right.
in his marriage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he just, and it's not the cliche. Oh, thankful to God, thankful to God. These are
No,
like
no.
my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
These guys were a little bit deeper than all
and so these were letting you know, hey, we are a follower of the Savior of the world, not
Right.
just, quote, God. Because there's a lot of people that say, oh, yeah, I believe in God. Oh, yeah, I'm thankful
Oh,
to
yeah,
God.
sure.
A lot of people say that. But
That
actually,
point in the air thing.
and like he's part of a program that helps kids and all
Uh-huh.
sorts of stuff. And it's just
Yeah.
like, man, it's incredible, man.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited they won. And, shout out to, I don't think Derek listens to the show, but Aaron, I know that's your team.
Oh, is it?
That's Aaron's team, man.
All right.
That's his
That's
team. He's
what's
been
up.
holding it down for the Eagles for, I mean, I guess for the longest time because he's got so many hoodie or all sorts. And he's like got shirts. You can go to TrueStrengthApparel.com and actually buy like Eagle shirts, like
Okay.
championship winning shirts.
Okay.
I mean, they're not official NFL shirts,
Oh, yeah,
obviously,
yeah, yeah.
but so make sure you go hit him up TrueStrengthApparel.com if you want to buy one of those shirts. And he supports the show. And he's a patron for the Business with Bordeaux podcast. So I'm telling you, please go buy a shirt. Anyway,
Well,
man.
and Howie Long's son is Chris, plays for. He's on
Oh, yeah,
defensive.
yeah.
And he was the guy that donated his entire paycheck this year
Right.
to special educational causes. So
Right.
I mean, just that much more to really love and support this team. Now, I'm not too psyched about how the fans responded. They kind of messed stuff up, turned some cars over, broke some stuff.
It's one in Philly?
Yeah, in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I understand being all excited and everything, but there's no reason for vandalism.
Yeah, and there was a whole lot of people who were saying like, I'm glad I don't live in Philly. 'Cause
Right,
It's gonna be
right.
rough.
See, and the thing is that being a Duke fan, and UNC does this too. They always tear something up. They always burn something. But at least like at Duke, they have a controlled situation. They say, okay, here are these benches. We realize you guys are going to burn these benches when you beat UNC. We know that you're going to do that. So we're going to place them right here away from everything else. We're going to make sure that there are people on standby to be able to put the fire out and control the situation. Otherwise, you guys have fun. But then you go over to like Chapel Hill and they're beating on cars and breaking windshields and stuff. And I got nothing for that. Anyway, let's move along. Hey, so was there, before we move on to other news, was there a Super Bowl commercial? I know that everybody's talked about the commercials, but did you have one that was your favorite?
Of all the ones that I saw, my favorite was Danny DeVito.
I'm telling you, man, it's hilarious.
Do you want to eat me? Do you want to eat me? I was like, man, it just.
And then when he gets knocked into was a produce stand or something.
Yeah.
It was hilarious, man.
That was so hilarious.
I thought the Tide commercials were, pretty okay.
See, I was so busy, man, because I couldn't sit there. I was doing
Really?
different stuff. Like we were sitting 30-minute takeout at a place to get some food to eat for the game, and so I had to watch the first no lie, the first quarter. I was in my car with my phone on. Thankfully, Verizon allows free data for the playoff and the Super Bowl.
Right.
And so I didn't even get to watch a lot of the commercials, man.
Oh,
But as soon as I got back and cut it on, that was the very first one I saw.
Was
and
it?
I was
Yeah.
like, best one of them, guaranteed, aside from any trailers that come out.
Well, yeah.
Aside from the trailer, which we're talking about that. We're talking about that. But yeah, man, that Danny DeVito commercial was incredible.
Yeah, I thought that was the best. I actually heard that the Alexa commercial was the top rated commercial.
I don't even know if I saw it.
Alexa loses her voice, and so then they have all these celebrities that are.
Oh yeah, that was good.
So you got Gordon Ramsay. He's like, "What do you mean you don't know how to make a grilled cheese sandwich? It's a great thing, man. Come on, you're how old?"
Well, here's the thing though, that's not a fresh, brand new commercial because they've already had an Alexa lost her voice commercial.
Oh really? See,
that's not even new.
Okay.
So it's like they're just taking an idea and a concept they've already used as a commercial, and they just put a different spin on it.
Okay.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So to me, that wasn't as oh wow, that was incredible. because they've already done
The
it.
red M&M comes to life,
I
right?
that's almost
Not
like
life, but a real life person.
Chuck Norris doing the card split thing whenever after Van Damme did it. Like somebody had already done it; it had already been
Yeah.
done. So like doing it again's not, whatever.
Yeah, I will say this though. It seemed like that there was a big undercurrent message of humanity and unity in a lot of the commercials,
Yeah,
and I thought that was pretty classy. I didn't know Budweiser cans water for relief situations. I mean they actually stopped production of canning beer and go ahead and start canning water to be able to send to areas for disaster relief.
right.
I was just, I didn't know that. I thought that was great. I knew Stella Artois. I don't know how you say that really. Anyway, I know that they do water for like third world countries,
Right.
but I had no clue about Budweiser. So a newfound respect for them.
Yeah, and you told me that I didn't see. Like I said, I missed a lot of those commercials, but um,
Yeah. So
hold on. What in the world? Oh,
we'll just leave it at that. We don't have to do the Stella Artois.
okay.
So anyway, I thought that there were some really good commercials. I thought that there were some good human perspectives on things, and
Halftime show. What'd you think?
I don't know enough of JT's music to be able to say, hey, I really enjoyed that as much as I did. I did think it was a nice, classy nod to be able to have the duo with Prince.
Right, right.
Given that he's from.
That was pretty. I mean, I thought it was to me the them doing that performance wise was interesting. It was cool.
Yeah.
It almost had like a Tony Starkish feel to it.
Really?
I mean, the way they had the thing lit up there or whatever. Yeah.
Really?
I'm bringing Iron Man into this. It didn't make my top trilogies, but yeah. So I enjoyed it though. I thought it was pretty cool, and
Some of the lyrics, of course, I didn't care for, but I don't know if JT does all of his choreography himself, but I mean he's got some nice moves. So.
well, could have been worse. A nipple could have been exposed.
We have definitely seen a lot worse. And there's a lot worse performers out there, so I'm just saying. So, yeah, all things considered, I didn't have any high hopes for it, but I did sit there and watch it anyway.
Right.
Because I felt like it's not going to be as bad as it has been.
Right. So anyway, man, moving on. Do you want to go ahead and talk about the Avengers Infinity War commercial while we're on Super Bowl?
Sure.
So whenever I saw it, like it came on TV, and I missed like the first 5 seconds, which really upset me. And I watched the last like 40 seconds. Still a teaser trailer, which kind of upset me a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a full-on trailer, which is Super Bowl. So they're not going to do a full-on trailer. And I kind of understand that. But overall, though, Cap's new shield.
Yeah.
That was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I like that they showed some of the characters they didn't show in the other ones. So you saw Groot, you saw, what's her name, Nebula, and in the comics, Nebula was actually the one that took out Thanos. If you never read the comic, so I don't know if they're going to pull that into this movie. They probably won't because they like to keep things fresh. But so I am glad they showed Nebula, but she's going to be that. I got a feeling she's going to pop out something important right when you least expect it. I'll just say that.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I enjoyed it, man. I actually watched it probably 20 times by now. Just to see if I caught everything,
I have to say, I did that with the Solo movie.
I still haven't seen a commercial for that. Or a true trailer for that.
Yeah, so, during the Super Bowl, they did a teaser trailer.
Right.
Which stunk. So you had to wait till the next day to actually see the full-blown trailer. But, I have to say that I'm not like... I don't have the highest of hopes for there being some really super great in-depth storyline
Right.
or any great hopes for there being stellar acting from the solo character. But I'm very excited about what I saw in terms of the expanded universe of
Gotcha.
Star Wars.
Gotcha.
I think that that's probably going to be the most exciting part of this movie. I think that still makes it worth going to see. And regardless, it's a Star Wars movie. I'm going to go see it the weekend it opens. That's just the way it is. But yeah,
What about Black Panther?
well, of course.
You gonna see that when it opens up?
Are we? Don't we have a date for that?
I think so.
I think
I
so.
think so.
I mean, I'm still stoked.
How about Ant-Man and the Wasp? Did you see that trailer?
I did, and I think that it's not the sort of movie that like I'm super stoked about or anything. Not even like, yeah, I gotta see that in the movie theater. As much as it is to say, I think it'll be an okay movie that you'll enjoy, but it's not like, oh man, you know what I want to watch? I want to watch Ant-Man and Wasp. Yeah, let's watch that. It'll be more like, I'm really bored.
Yeah.
I guess we'll put this in.
Well, for me personally, like I have the Ant-Man movie, and I've probably watched it once since I bought it. I'm more have it for the collection.
Yeah.
Somebody else hadn't seen it, which I'm getting very. I don't know if I'm gonna be letting people borrow movies anymore.
Yeah, I don't
Last
think
time I
so.
let somebody borrow a movie, I let my wife's teacher borrow Wonder Woman,
Oh.
and the collector case got chewed up by her dog.
Dude, what?
It really ticked me off. This is after we asked for it like 4 times.
Well,
And then she
didn't wanna give
finally,
it back to you.
she finally was like, yeah, she was sitting. My wife finally said, "Hey, can I come get that movie sometime today or tomorrow?" Instead of just saying, "Hey, you watched the movie yet?" She kept saying, "No, not yet, no, not yet."
Right.
Finally, she asked her. Then she said, "Yeah, I'm so sorry, my dog, my little toy poodle. Why? I think my little toy poodle, so kitty. Yeah, he tore it up. Don't be mad at it. Please don't be mad at him." And I'm like, I don't care. Shoot him.
Barbecue.
Sell him. Get me a new one. That's a collector case.
Barbecue.
So I was upset, but anyway,
I don't blame you.
Jesus said to forgive people. I don't forget the dog. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
So Elon Musk.
Yeah, so
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk sends a rocket up into space. He has it heading toward Mars. And the only thing that's really truly notable about this is that he sent a Tesla Sportster in on this rocket with a dummy in the driver's seat. So Elon, buddy, I just want to know, what message are you trying to send the Martians?
We come in peace in very expensive cars.
We are only idiots drive very expensive all electric cars. I mean, because
Send
it's a
it out to
dummy.
space.
It's a moron. It's a dummy going in space.
Speaking of which, if you have an electric car, you get preferred parking in a lot of areas.
Well,
So
and I have nothing against people that have money or people that buy electric cars. I really don't. But I'm just wondering. To me, it sends some conflicting messages. I don't know what you're trying to go for there, Elon. But,
like, hey, we have this on Earth.
But I will say this though, there's some pretty cool looking pics. So Google it, and I'm sure you'll find a plethora of images that he has from outer space with this Tesla Sportster and the dummy driving it. I don't know the dummy's name. They should have named the dummy. They
Brady?
probably did. Yeah. Oh yeah, Tom. Yeah.
I think it was Donald Brady
Huh?
or Tom Trump.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
isn't that the same thing?
So,
Moving along.
yeah, so I actually saw your next news piece. I actually did see this.
Oh, did you?
Actually, a physical disc getting pulled from shelves.
Yeah.
CDs?
So CDs
Yeah.
are going the way of the buffalo.
Yeah.
Best Buy has announced officially they are going to no longer sell music CDs as of July 1st.
Now, when was the last time you bought a physical disc?
Christmas.
For who?
Or for my wife.
From where?
Online.
Online.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the thing. Like most physical discs that I get are at concerts or online.
Well, now before that, my last album that I bought, I don't buy much music anymore these days. But the last one that I bought in a store.
Most people don't buy music these days. even on iTunes, I wouldn't be surprised if iTunes pulled some type of a weird thing, like because people just don't buy as much as they used to stream.
Wow.
And now, even in looking at record sales and stuff, they're incorporating like a certain amount of streams per song is considered a purchase. So instead of like selling 1 million albums,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody streams the albums 10 times, that's considered a one purchase or something like I don't know what the number is.
Huh.
There's some type of algorithm there that translates that transfers it. You know, it's like a currency exchange stream for purchase. And so, but in general though, I mean, yeah, I don't buy CDs at the store. Last time I bought a CD at a store, I bought it for my mother-in-law. No, actually, I bought it on iTunes because they didn't have it in the store.
Wow.
So
But
I
see,
don't know, man. Like,
you know, I've got this thing where I'd rather have the physical copy and then rip the disc and have all the digital access that I need to
Right.
from there. Because stuff happens, man. I've actually had iTunes purchases like straight up disappear before.
yeah.
So, and I, you know,
And
look,
see, for me, if I do buy it online, I immediately put it on a disc.
yeah,
So I have it.
yeah.
Because I can put it back on iTunes.
But there's something about having, I mean, especially if it's one of your favorite artists, and that's the way it was with the last three
Yeah,
albums I
yeah.
bought. They were like favorite artists. So I like the cover art. I like the tangible. I like holding something. There's just something about it.
Well, another problem I had was all the artists were going to the paper covers. I can't. Actually, the last CD I bought at Walmart was a $5 Linkin Park Hybrid Theory CD. I lied.
Okay.
And I bought it because it was Christmas. No, it was the Black Friday sale.
Okay.
It was like $2. I
Wow.
was like, heck yeah, this is a good album for that price.
And you didn't give me one?
My bad, man.
Yeah,
I was going to get you
that-
Metallica Black
Oh,
and Injustice for All. They had both of them there. I was going to get them, but I was broke.
man, I totally
I
missed
was
that.
really broke.
Oh,
They still got it there. I don't know if it's probably $5 now.
okay.
But yeah, man. But yeah, so I don't know I don't know how long CDs will be selling in general, or I don't know a whole lot of artists who actually print physical CDs except
Yeah.
for shows.
Right.
Um,
And see, and that's cool because then you can get them autographed and
Yeah,
it's,
exactly.
You know, something special.
and see, that's the thing. You do disc or the book, and
Right.
they autograph it. You know, so it's
Yeah.
part of merch buying.
By the way, I never suggest that you get the CD itself autographed. Always get the booklet autographed.
Yeah,
So. Well, you know, and I have to say, I still like vinyl, and I'm not trying to be all hipster or anything like that.
A
Or
lot of people are buying vinyl now.
I'm-
Vinyl's got a huge comeback.
I'm probably more like grumpy old man as opposed to hipster. So somewhere in there,
A-track?
the two cross, man.
You're
It's
A-track.
it's weird. No, A-track suck, but it's weird. The two actually cross over. It's like, you know, anything that's old and analog is
Right.
hip, and I'm just old, so it's just what I have.
Dude,
You know?
people's going back to. Here's the thing: CD is too current to be in.
Sure.
Last year, or the year before, when they brought back the NES, the Nintendo system,
Yeah.
they sold out of the Nintendo system. Like Atari, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, people were looking for these machines everywhere.
8-bit games
And like people were like, how can I get this old system? And it
Right.
was like it's so much of a throwback to childhood, and you're thinking back to times when things were simpler for you. And you know, and I think that's another reason why. I mean, the same thing with like Star Wars and all these different movies that are creating.
Actually, my youth was really rough and difficult and traumatic, so I don't
Okay.
really think about it.
Well, except for you,
Yeah.
you know, everybody else, but
Yeah.
not Sean. This time it's not and Sean, and
Sean.
but Sean. I think of a but whenever I think of Sean. So anyway, yeah, I don't know if CDs are going to be around much longer. I think with Best Buy not selling them anymore, I'm pretty sure Walmart is going to cut back tremendously. Not that Walmart has a big selection, but like I can't remember the last time I went to Walmart and went to that section and seen anybody looking at CDs.
I'm surprised that there are still Best Buys.
True.
I-
Amazon, I'm surprised Amazon didn't put it out.
I mean, yeah, seriously. It's just.
Or Walmart.
it's- when you're looking at the full spectrum there, I don't know that there's enough people that need to be face to face with any of that stuff
Yeah.
that, you know, they can't get at least a glimpse somewhere else.
Well,
Yeah.
I think big purchases for bigger ticket items, I think is what you need a Best Buy for. So TVs with certain specifications that are 60-inch, like unless you get it at Walmart, but Walmart might not have the certain specifications you want.
Right, but
So you go to
that's why
Best
you
Buy.
still, no, that's why you still go online.
No, you don't. You don't trust the online shipping for a TV.
Sure you do.
No,
Because then when it comes busted up, you just ship it right back. You
that's
send it
too
back
much
to 'em.
aggravation for me.
No,
Man.
no. How you gonna fit it in your car? You can't even get a 60-inch TV in your car.
Truck, van. I got a van, man. I'm a real dad.
Okay, but
I'm a real man.
literally, I saw this couple trying to fit this big, huge TV into the back of their car. They had they had to have the windows down because the top of the car curved so much
I
toward the
believe it.
roof. They had to put the windows down so the TV could stick out, the corners could stick out, the corners. I mean, what?
That's
Really?
why I would never
Come
drive a
on.
Volkswagen.
Okay. Anyway.
Anyway, going on to Facebook, man.
Yeah, Facebook. So, hey, did you know that Facebook had hired a full-time person to monitor if people like Mark Zuckerberg?
That's awesome.
That's all he did. He went around and surveyed people around the world,
What you
to
think of
see-
Zuckerberg?
Yeah, what you think about Mark? Is he a cool guy? Do you like him? You know, what are your feelings about him?
Marcus he's an okay guy. He's an okay guy.
Well, and they said, well, are they paying you to do this job? And he said, yeah. And they said, well, now we don't like him. We think he's pretty lame.
I would say-
who does that?
I would say, I don't know.
Other than Donald Trump, who does that?
I would say that's kind of weird. Like, hi, I'm a new team member over at Facebook, and it is my job to see if you like Mark. What you think of him? That's different. Now, I would say this: if you hire somebody to survey your staff, to bring in like a third party, somebody to do things like that's very common in organizations to hire somebody to come in. Can't remember. I took a class in college, but it's pretty much you got third party people to come in, survey your people, figure out people's feelings, what their situation, if they're happy, what kind of improvements, if they're cool with
that's a strategy
management,
thing,
and so there's that. But to have somebody going and surveying the general public on whether or not they like you,
Well, and I will say this. So the guy says, his he left a job with Google, which I think was just stupid. But he thought, you know what? I see this entity, this massive entity of Facebook, and how profound it really is in today's society. And I see that there are things that need to be changed with it. And so he felt like if he could step inside the business, he can maybe help affect some changes. And he was hired in April, so we're talking after all the initial big scandal of Russia and
Right.
what have you, and fake news on Facebook and that sort of thing. And that's where Mark's getting a little bit paranoid. He's like, other people are not like me anymore. I don't know what's going on. I put out fake news. I don't know. But so this guy, he says he quit after 3 months.
wow.
Yeah, he said, you know what? I realized very quickly that there's only one person that runs this company, answers to nobody but himself, and so for all the issues and junk that goes on, it's not going to change because this person's not going to change. Who's this person? We're talking Mark Zuckerberg. So.
It's a bad form of leadership.
Look, man, I dumped my Facebook account.
Look,
So.
he's a smart guy. Like, he's very smart. Buying Instagram was genius.
Yeah.
He didn't get Snapchat like he wanted, but buying Instagram was genius.
Yeah.
And he's made a lot of smart moves. The fact that almost any type of social application, a lot of websites, a lot of things, they use your Facebook as a login.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, the fact that that's your new email,
yeah,
it's incredible.
yeah.
Even the
I
U
would say
version.
Scary.
Oh, it's scary, but it's smart on his behalf. But I mean, the U version app, same thing using Facebook.
Yeah.
Like even with the Trackstars app, like there's an app program you can use to create your apps, almost like a template. Now, I don't know exactly how Trackstars and other places like that do it, but like a lot of the options you can use to have people sign in is Facebook because it's much easier.
Yeah.
I think Spotify has it. I don't know, a lot of companies have it, but just the fact that Facebook has a lock on that. I've never been to something that says log in using Twitter. Nobody.
Well, no, but I have.
Well, no, sorry, Anchor. The app Anchor, I use Twitter, but aside from Anchor, everything else has been Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know. I You know me. I hate social media, so
Yeah, you do. You
yeah.
do.
I don't really care what Mark Zuckerberg does or is and whatever. Anyway, and you can book your face all you want. I don't care. So
And tweet on it.
all right. Music news. Decayed Existence. You probably haven't heard of them. That you just deleted that, dude.
I know.
Oh, that was mine.
No, that was the Avengers and Ant-Man and Wasp thing I deleted.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was.
my bad. Okay, Decayed Existence. A metalcore band just released a new lyric video called "Cursed." Honestly, it's a really good song. The lyrics are kind of simplified, so if you're actually reading it, you're kind of like, oh, okay, but still poignant at the same time. So check out Decayed Existence and their lyric video "Cursed."
Cool deal. And Swoop, one of my favorite lyricists in CHH, or just in general, he released an album called Sunshine, S-O-N Shine. It feels good. Feels good. There's a couple songs that have a more, I would say, updated feel, but it doesn't sound like he produced this. It doesn't sound like he self-produced a lot of the album. A lot of the beats sound a lot different. A lot of his Wake Up album. If anybody knows that album, like you have that Swoop feel on the production side of things. And so this one feels like he's probably brought us some other people with some different feels to their production style. And so, but overall, it was a good album. That's something what I've really been listening to that's new here lately. And so make sure you check that out. And there is a new single by an artist I'm getting to know from Charlotte. His name is Day Lee. I hope I said that right. But the name of it is Win, and we're going to play that here before or during the break. During the break. During the break. But anyway, we will be back with our top 5 trilogies.
Trilogies.
So anyway, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
That's the number
3. Do you have any idea what you're going to say before?
No.
You just whatever comes to your
It
mind?
just comes out.
I'm pretty sure you don't plan those out.
No, it'd be much more clever than that.
There's no way you can plan that out. Just alrighty. Alrighty, welcome back to the Solomon Sports Podcast. Again, that was Win by Day Lee. So make sure you go cop that single. It's available everywhere. And like I said, from North Carolina, I gotta say, man, North Carolina has a ton of great, talented, great, just sounding music coming out in the Christian hip hop sphere. Anyway, so again, shout out to True Strength Apparel. Make sure you go get your Fly Eagles Fly shirt.
That's what that stands for.
Oh, TSA.
Yeah, I thought it was the Transgender Sporting Authority.
Huh?
TSA,
No.
the Transgender Sporting
Speaking of which, at
Authority.
the TSA at the airport, I got a full pat down. Very uncomfortable.
Oh.
Very uncomfortable.
Anyway.
And my daughter really freaked out about it. Jaylee was crying the whole time. She was like, "What is he doing to you?" I was like, "I don't know." And then he asked me, he said, "Do you want a private
Oh
pat
my
down?"
goodness.
I was like, "I don't want you to touch my privates."
No.
Anyway, so along with that, we're going on to our round 5, our top trilogies. Now, this is films, it's movies. There's a couple of albums that have trilogies to them. Very few, not enough to do a top 5. And but I will say, Sean and I do have two of the same.
Yeah, we got a little bit.
Two of the. Yeah, we got 2 of the same. I might flip mine just to match yours, just so we can talk about it at the same time.
Well,
Might be easier.
and we've got some crossover there in the honorable mentions.
Yeah, we got a lot of cross dressers over here, so
Yeah, the Transgender Sporting Authority.
yeah. So anyway, you want to start off with your number 5?
Yeah. So you're probably not going to recognize this as common as a lot of others, but it's called the Dollars trilogy, and this is the three movies, the three spaghetti westerns of Clint Eastwood.
Did you say spaghetti westerns?
Yeah, they're called spaghetti westerns.
Why?
It's the genre of filming.
Why spaghetti?
Um, because they're Italian directors.
Oh,
Doing
okay.
westerns. Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and Ugly. So that's where I'm starting up my list off. It's kind of old school, but look, man, these are films that just endure forever. You pop them in, and you can see that there's a lot of respect that they deserve a lot of respect. We'll just go
Gotcha.
with that. Yeah.
Gotcha. So my number
Yeah,
5, I was not going to dive into the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they have 3 trilogies at this point. They got Iron Man,
Uh-huh.
they got Thor,
Mm-hmm.
and my number 5, Captain America.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The second Captain America is probably still the best of all of the films in the MCU. And I think my popular opinion, most people that I've heard that give like a top 5 of Marvel Cinematic Universe films, Captain America 2 Winter Soldier is on the top of most people's list.
I know.
Definitely in the top 3 of almost everybody's list.
Yeah.
And to me, it is like the number 1 MCU film, with Civil War being like number 2 or 3 on that.
Sure.
And I did like Captain America 1. And so, it was an introduction of the first Infinity Stone. And so, with that, there's just a lot of things that were really important in all these films, setting up for the next films and things like that. And so the storylines in them were great. The action was fantastic. And even in Civil War, even though it was kind of more of an Avengers film, it's still a Captain America film.
Right.
And so technically it still falls into that. But a lot of people would also consider that an Avengers 3 still. Even though it's missing the Hulk and Thor.
Sure.
A lot of people were calling that Avengers 3. So, but, the Captain America films to me are one of the best trilogies. It's second favorite trilogy in comic book land. Well, actually, I guess technically third. Or 4. Anyway, it's my number 5 on this list. Because I don't know if my number 4 counts.
Yeah.
Or number 3.
Yeah. Well, it didn't start off as a comic book, but
Yeah.
they've made one. So.
A lot of films have done that.
And I think, I don't know about 3 either. but
Teenage
anyway.
Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
Power Rangers, they
Yeah.
all are coming into comics now.
Well,
I guess because you collect a lot
Teenage
more.
Mutant Ninja Turtles started as a comic.
It did? Okay.
And what was the other one?
You number 4? We can go later.
Okay. I just felt like correcting you again, that's all.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I'd love to agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong.
I don't care. Let's go.
Alright, so number 4. The Matrix trilogy. So this is obviously not including the Animatrix, because that's not really part of the trilogy itself. So.
Right.
I mean, what do you say about it? I mean, you're talking about a sci-fi film or sci-fi films that, really hit a specific generation and then transcended beyond that generation, actually.
That first Matrix film was so, I don't know, it's so funny because, a lot of people in theological discussions,
Oh, yeah.
I heard a lot of agnostic people talk about the Matrix as their theological thought frame.
Sure.
If that makes sense. And so for the fact that people are taking this film and using it as a way of the way they feel like the world exists,
Sure.
And it just opened up another mindset.
Well, and then, we saw some filming there, some videography, some stunts, and things that, maybe we'd seen a little bit of in some other movies, but really pulled it together and kind of blew our minds at the time.
Yeah.
Now we sit down and watch it, we go, yeah, okay, whatever. But at the time, man, we're just, what?
Yeah.
I mean,
Even the slow motion back dodging the bullet.
Yeah.
And
he's bending over backwards, and
literally.
And we're seeing all these bullets whizzing by. It would just blew your mind. Yeah. I still love that hallway scene leading up to the elevator. And all those columns and running along the walls and stuff. I mean, it's just, drop one gun, grab another one, popping clips in. I mean, just
I need to buy that on film. I have it on VHS,
oh really?
and I have Reloaded and Revolutions on DVD.
I bought the trilogy on Blu-ray. I had to. I
See,
enjoyed it.
now I'm gonna have to go find the trilogy on Blu-ray and go ahead and watch them
It,
again.
it's worth it. It really
I
is.
will say I feel like Revolutions was a little different, but in the film it definitely had a little bit of some Christian themes behind it. The one
You could take it that way,
the
yeah.
one sacrificing himself, saving everybody. I know that's kind of common in a lot of different hero type movies,
Sure.
but just the way it happened, it was like I could take you out. I
Right.
can. I could.
Right.
I'm just not going to.
But yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. And a lot of other films, they sacrifice themselves because they know they can't win. And this one he could have, but he just decided not to.
Right.
So that's why to me it felt like it was more of a Christian thing, like a Jesus the one kind
Right.
of situation.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
All right.
except he wasn't blonde hair, blue eyes. So
Yeah, because we all know that's exactly what Jesus is like. Oh.
anyway, I mean honestly, I'll probably place that at my number 4 as well. I got it on my
you're gonna
list.
shift things around a little bit.
I am, because I'm not going to revisit that after. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make
Okay.
any sense.
All right.
I mean, we can both go ahead and do number 3 as well, because I'll just bump my number 4 to 2.
Who cares about the order anymore?
So let's move on to Dark Knight. The Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, Dark Knight trilogy definitely was on both of our lists.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you say? It's the best Batman portrayal to date. I'm not saying that they can't improve on it. I'm not saying that Christian Bale was the best Batman ever. I would say he's the best Batman to date. But
Yeah.
just, I mean, in general, the whole Dark Knight series, not film, but comic book, was just such a hit. It was so overwhelming. I mean, people just were so drawn to it. They loved the grittiness. They love how, not to play it out, they love how dark it was.
The Dark Knight was definitely probably a lot of people's favorite with Heath Ledger playing Joker.
Oh yeah, yeah. By far.
When you
and again, the best Joker ever.
when you look at any of the Joker photos or anything at all, most of them have Heath Ledger. I've seen very few Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson's probably popular number 2 in portrayal. I don't know about this new guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of this new guy. Jared Leto or Jay Leto or something. I don't know.
Jay Leno?
I don't care enough to.
I thought he was a late night talk show.
I wasn't impressed enough to know his name, but I don't like it. Heath Ledger to me grasps
that was it.
If you look at there's the comic book where he takes Gordon and chains him up in the circus, and I can't remember what it's called now.
Well, but
They just created the version, the animated video. But to me, this was like the perfect insane version.
and that's what I was gonna say is that I think that it took someone and you guys bear with me. I'm not trying to diss the man, but he was in a very dark place in his life. He needed some psychiatric help. I think honestly, to do the Joker the way the Joker really is, you almost really have to be at that point. I don't think that there was any way to get that level of Joker out of somebody if they weren't already walking in those shoes. You know what I'm saying?
The killing joke as well.
Killing joke. It's not that I would want somebody to have to go that far in their lives, or that that's what it takes to be able to play him, but honestly, I mean that's what he is. He is a sick, demented person, and it really takes somebody to really go there. And unfortunately, he paid an ultimate price for that. But yeah, definitely by far. So anyway, all right, Dark Knight. All right, so is that it?
Number 2 on your list.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is the fork in the road.
This is the fork. Okay, we finally branch off now. You actually have this as an honorable mention, but Lord of the Rings trilogy. I have to say when the movies came out, I wasn't I was not interested. I was like, yeah,
Me neither.
whatever. It wasn't until actually I think all three films had already come out on video, and I finally sat down to watch it, and I was like, man, what have I been missing?
This is what Frodo was all about.
I mean,
Wow, and Rudy did a good job too.
you know, yeah. You know, it's not that. I don't know. You know, as a kid, I watched. Yeah, what is it? It's not going to mind. Anyway, The Hobbit. Thank you. Wow, why was that hard? I don't know.
The Hobbit.
Anyway, the animated The Hobbit.
Okay.
It would come on TV. I watched it as a kid. A very old film, and so I was already kind of familiar with the world, and but still, just it really did interest me. But then I watched it. I was just like, wow, the scope, the magnitude of these films are so mammoth. And I hate that I missed out on that opportunity to sit in a theater and be able to watch them for the first time. So,
I haven't actually seen The Hobbit, the newer ones.
yeah, and they're good. They're good, but Lord of the Rings just it set a precedence, I think.
It did.
And I think that's the reason why they deserve such recognition, is to be able to say, hey, we did something that nobody else has really done yet.
Right.
And did it really well. So
Doesn't it have a supposed Christian theme to it? I don't know the.
well, the author was a Christian. He's dead. Tolkien, but he even said that when he wrote this, he didn't necessarily write it as a Christian
Right.
series of books.
So it wasn't Chronicles of Narnia.
No, definitely was
Gotcha.
not. And he had no intention of making it overtly so. But by his very nature, because of his faith, it comes through in his writings.
Right.
And so, you can't really say, oh, well, it's Christian as much as to say that it's excellent fantasy, and it has Christian thematic points to it.
So it's Lecraean sci-fi.
Fantasy. Okay.
Fantasy.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure.
All
right.
My number 2 is Terminator, the first 3. Because here's the thing. You got Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, and then it turns into the other ones.
Salvation.
Yeah, then it's Terminator Salvation, then
Which is actually my favorite Terminator.
And so those for me.
But Arnie does come back in the last one. So.
I hadn't seen the last one.
Yeah. Well, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean that it's not a legit Terminator film. So.
Okay, but I'm saying
so there's
the
really more
first
than
3.
But there's more than 3.
But the first 3 to me is my favorite trilogy, and it's listed on a whole bunch of trilogy papers. So
Which
or
would be
categories.
Wrong. So, I mean, they
don't
did that with
care.
Indiana Jones listed on a bunch of sites.
Okay, and Star Wars.
No, but Star Wars is different.
You could argue that later, but
And I will.
the Terminator. As a kid, that movie was. I don't know. It's just one of those movies
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2 was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Terminator 1 came out whenever I was born, and probably before I was born.
Yeah, it was
It's like
before
85,
you were
wasn't it?
born. Yeah, I think so.
And I was born in 89, so.
Yeah.
But watching them though, like, it was incredible. Even the third one, like, it's just, it's like, it's like, how in the world are you going to defeat, And I think the first one, to me, the second one was more so like, how are you going to do this? Like, how in the world? And then in the third one, it was like, it just seemed kind of too impossible to me. It was like, there's no way, dude. There's like, and it's just that, realm of impossibility, but yeah, it's just that straight determination. I think that's the thing, like, that I wish sometimes we had ourselves, is that drive that he had. It was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, this is what, God didn't create him with this film, but this is what God created me to do. No matter how impossible it looks, I'm going to keep pushing forward like it's possible.
I have to say, I totally tuned you out, so I don't have a clue what you're saying. But technically, Arnie was also in Salvation as well. It was a digital, it was a CG, but he was still technically in it.
You know how much I care about what you're saying right now?
So I'm just saying, he's been in them. So.
All right,
it's
man.
not
Go
a
to your
trilogy.
number one so we can argue this.
Okay, the original Star Wars trilogy.
Technically, no. Technically,
They
Han
still
Solo
call
was
it-
in 7.
They still call it
Han
the original
Solo.
trilogy.
I don't care. Han
They
Solo
still
was in
call it the
7.
originals. They still call it the original trilogy.
Mark Hamill. He's in 8.
They still call it
And
the original
7.
trilogy.
Okay. So
It-
Chewbacca's in all of them.
But it existed
about.
as the trilogy. Okay, well, if you're gonna go there, 3PO has been in every single movie.
There you go.
Okay. Every
R2D2.
single movie. But anyway, the original trilogy, because it stood for the longest time as that was it. So it's still a trilogy.
Until George Lucas ran out of money, then he was like, all right,
Yeah, go ahead and make us some chunky movies.
Spark it back up. Let's create a Jamaican little flappy hip character. And make him look
Yeah, we're not racist. No. And the money mongers happen to be Asian. Yeah.
So
We're-
your number
we're not
one
racist.
is the original Star
trilogy.
Wars films.
Yeah, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah. I gotta say, I mean, I think that's probably the most classic trilogy of a lot of
Yeah.
people's lists,
Sure.
and I can see why it's top. I mean, of its time,
Right.
you know, it's definitely one of the top.
And its impact, I think, socially,
Yeah.
it's been huge. So.
My number one is Blade.
You know, I
And-
hadn't seen all of the Blades.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't.
A lot of people didn't like. I think it was the third one with Jessica Biel and Ryan Reynolds, but you know, Ryan Reynolds with swords. You know, it's like
Yeah.
Deadpool in Blade.
With
And,
vampires.
And then Trinity, I mean, it's called Trinity. But with, you know, it's got Count Dracula's in this one. So it's like the original vampire. So,
Sure.
just in general, man, like the first Blade, like, I don't know, man, this Wesley Snipes seems such, you know, he was a vamp in these movies. And,
You know that I think it's pretty much like that opening scene where they're at that club. And
Yeah,
all the blood
yeah.
starts coming out of the sprinkler system.
you're like,
Well, it's got to kind of have to creep you out
Yeah.
a little bit. I mean, you know, it's not legit blood, but even still, they're just like wigging out. The things are coming out. That one guy's totally tripping. He's
Yeah.
human.
he has no
and-
idea what's getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
And I still remember that. He was like, just that's after that scene, you were just like,
Whoa.
dang.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, and the villain from the first one too, like that was, you know, I've seen him in a couple of the movies, but like, that was probably his best,
His best.
best for me. And even, you know, Ryan Reynolds, like even, you know, in the second one, you know, it was pretty good. I think a lot of people were like, there's a lot of people I met that didn't really like the second and third one. They just like the original one.
Sure.
And it's kind of like Scream. Like when you get the 2 and 3, they just kind of dwindle and get weird. And but for me, like I don't know, I enjoyed all of them. And I don't know if it's just because I like Wesley Snipes in them. Like maybe he was just a really good actor and he
Right.
just real good tough guy. But even as a kid though, vampire movies were always my favorite.
Oh, really?
Like I always wanted to be a vampire. So I actually I had like a trench coat that my cousin Wes gave me. And I put like holes in it with like stakes and stuff. And I was walking around the neighborhood in this trench coat, like wanting to be a vampire killer. And I'm telling you, man, I got into the movies that I watched. At one time, you know, I walked around thinking I was the one, and I was trying to run up a tree and fall and, you know, fall out. So
Yeah.
jumped off a house, didn't make it.
No.
Broke both my legs.
Nice.
Just kidding. But yeah, man, Blade to me is one of my favorite. And that's why I do not want them to touch Blade again, even though they got plans to. I don't want them to. The Matrix, I don't want them to do another
don't
Matrix.
touch it. No.
Leave it alone. Leave this. And I understand you got better CG and technology now. I don't care. Don't do it.
If you can take like a Matrix universe concept and
Yeah.
create a new storyline off of that, okay, but don't redo it.
Yeah, like Trinity was pregnant. We didn't know it. She had a son.
Sure.
Voila, boom.
There
Just
you
don't do another. And I don't know, man. I don't want to. It's like, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm really scared.
Yeah.
So, honorable mentions for you?
Well, The Godfather, definitely classic. I mean, you know, waking up and finding a horse's head in your bed still trips you out at night. And I added this at the last here, because as I was thinking about it, it's probably one trilogy aside of Star Wars, that I probably regularly will just put in one of the films just to have going, just in general.
Yeah.
Whether it's background noise or whatever. So it has to at least make my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
And that's the Expendables. I actually got all three movies for Christmas 2 years ago. My brother gave them to me on Blu-ray. And I still just enjoy hey, there's nothing but garbage on TV. I don't feel like doing anything else but watching TV.
I don't need brain power.
I don't need brain power. I just need guns and
explosions.
Yeah, and it delivers every time.
And one-liners.
One-liners and cameos. Yeah.
That's all you need.
I mean, what? I don't need a plot.
That's why I like Expendables 3. To me, that was my favorite.
Was there a plot?
I don't know.
There's a bad guy. I don't know.
Okay, who are the bad guys? Mel Gibson, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
And who was the other real big bad guy? No. There's another one I can't remember. Jean-Claude Van Damme was in the last one.
No, Mel Gibson was the last one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jean-Claude was in the second one. The first one was it had Steve Austin, but I'm trying to think of that actor's name that was the main bad guy. He wasn't he wasn't like, oh my goodness, super bad guy. He was more like, devious bad guy because he was turned CIA agent.
Right.
I'm assuming that you're looking him up right now, so that
I'm trying to. Yeah, if you can
Eric,
stall, I'll try to.
Eric, what's his last name? Eric something. Anyway, so he just played that kind of mean dude. He wasn't big bad.
Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts, thank you.
Okay.
But Steve Austin, I think, was probably the main bad guy in terms of action.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I don't know.
But my honorable mentions is Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Another one of those movies that gets you thinking, what would happen if you did something? And it kind of makes you wonder, things like that.
See, I came up with the Back to the Future movies, and I was all into them at the time. But I think that now, there's some nostalgia. I actually went to go see them in at a local theater here.
Uh-huh.
So it's actually a production theater, but they also have a movie screen that they pulled down.
Right.
And so I get to watch it in the movie theater again, and it was on an anniversary, and they had all sorts of memorabilia and stuff. funny little side story. They were supposed to have a DeLorean.
Mm-hmm.
Show up and have it parked outside of the front of the theater.
Right.
But the thing is that DeLoreans are notorious for breaking down. So this one actually broke down on the way to the theater.
I actually saw one outside of, I think it was Universal Studios.
Yeah.
I remember one as a kid.
That's the only time I've seen one was Universal Studios in California.
Well, I think it was actually broke down, too.
I'm sure it was.
They were trying to get it inside, and it stopped outside. Why don't we just leave it there?
Yeah, we'll just leave it there.
And,
we'll call it an attraction.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, Toy Story. To me, it's a classic. Lord of the Rings is on my list. And then one more that you're probably going to call me some kind of name for. But I grew up watching them, and I was always one that tried to plan out things and keep away the bad guys and set booby traps. Get lost in New York City on my own.
Oh.
Home Alone. Yeah. It's classic.
My wife and daughter still like watching the first one at Christmas, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a good throwback for me.
Is there only 3 of those?
I think they created the 4th. I don't know. There were 3 for a long time. There were 2 for a long time. Then they created a 3rd.
Yeah.
That's where I stopped.
It didn't even have Macaulay Culkin.
No, it didn't. But I felt like it was still okay.
Yeah.
So, but the first 2 really make the trilogy.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to call it a trilogy. So, also, obviously, I would have to say Thor and Iron Man. But, the first Thor wasn't all that great. I did like 2 and 3 a whole lot better.
3.
And I liked all the Iron Mans. People ripped on the 3rd one.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And I didn't get that because I liked it too. And I would have had those guys somewhere on my honorable mentions, but I don't know. It's for some reason I don't feel like they're real trilogies.
I don't either. That's my thing.
They're still so much a part of the MCU.
It's a huge storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to think of them as separate pieces.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of the way I felt, and I had to throw Captain America in there just because I had to put something in there
You
from
know,
the
yeah,
MCU.
yeah, I get
And
you.
but yeah, man. So that is our round 5 top trilogies. Let us know in the comments what your top trilogies are, and we will be right back with Me versus Me. But going into
Me
the break,
versus me.
we're going to listen to Me versus Me. So stay tuned.
Man, this show's gonna be so long.
Only an hour.
So you need to keep this down to 30 minutes.
Yeah, we will.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're running it, so.
Yeah, this is gonna be way off the cuff, man.
Okay.
So it's gonna be short.
All right.
It's either gonna be short or long because it is gonna be off the cuff. That's the thing.
Yeah, you're just gonna kind of prattle on about this, that, and the other.
We're gonna be killing time just to try to have enough time. Then we're gonna have way too much time. So anyway, all right.
I'm gonna shut up.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Solomon Sports Podcast. That was Me versus Me by Taylor Gray, featuring Swoop, Keyshawn Furlow, and Kai. And that's from the album In the Way of Me. We actually played another song of his a while back that he actually made specifically for us, even though he didn't know it, called Solomon's Porch.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
so
that.
make sure you check that out, In the Way of Me. But, you know, and I purposely picked the song to fit in with the topic and the outro song, which we'll play later, of course.
So what's the name of the topic?
Me versus Me.
So we're gonna be talking about the song.
No, we're talking about the. It's just the idea of me versus me. So one
Are
of
you gonna get all like metaphysical on me?
probably. I don't know what metaphysical means, but we're going to get into it. So I think there's a couple of things that goes into this. One, you know, I was talking to my wife why I enjoyed like working out, hitting the gym. It's because I feel like I'm the only person that can stop me. Like it's just me going in there, and it's just like me versus me. Like whether I can beat myself or not. My previous.
I can totally stop you.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
Like Andy says, you can't stop me. So.
My guns are bigger than your guns.
They are. They are. I got big bullets. And so, I don't know. But, and we've talked about this personally in the past, where people like do like a self-sacrificial thing, but they almost do it in a sense of pride, like I'm doing this for God when they're really just doing it in a prideful way. And I guess the reason why I felt like it, kind of fitted in with me versus me is because, like, a lot of times we think, like, every part of me is bad, so I got to get rid of every part of me, and I got everything that I want, everything that I desire, I got to get rid of and kick out of my life. And so, so there are some scripture. One I found was Ephesians 4:22 through 24, that in reference of your former manner of life, lay aside the old self, which is being corrupted in accordance with the lust of deceit. And so, that's part of like, you trying to kick out the negative part of you. But I don't know, like, I guess the reason why I wanted to talk about it was because we had nothing else to talk about, for one. And just to get your thoughts on what you think of, like, I feel like a lot of people think that being a Christian, you have to have of everything that I want is bad. Everything no matter what it is. It's almost like you can't have any desires. Like,
I agree.
And so, you agree what people feel that way, or that we shouldn't have any desires?
Yes.
But
Do you know what time it is? It's time to go home.
yeah, it's 8:06 right now. So, but I think we both know people who kind of, that could have almost a self-sacrificial to kind of elevate their pride. I don't know, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah, anytime that you do anything, you can do the most upstanding thing, and it look like it's supposed to be selfless, but you're still doing it for a selfish reason.
Right.
And so, Okay, so wow, you work in ministry. That's awesome, man. Yeah, yeah. I put all this time in and I don't get paid, and it's really hard work sometimes. It's very traumatic, and it's the drama that goes on and everything. But it's all for God's glory. I'm sorry. Um, what was that for? Why did you give me all that information?
Right, right,
That isn't. You're not being humble. You are actually boosting yourself. You're selling me on you. I don't. I'd already acknowledged that you did some great work. That's awesome. But all the rest of it is just still look at me, because I do all of this for God's glory. Look at me.
right. And so, but I think my question to you, or just in general to people, but you're here in front of me. So, I mean, should we ever like,
I'm sorry.
should we? I mean, is there ever a right time to share the sacrifices openly with people? Because I feel like if you're conversing with other people in the similar situation,
Uh huh.
then it's okay. But I do hear a lot of times where people will just go on and on and on about this, sacrificing, this giving up of themselves to serve and to, it's almost like, yeah, I gotta, you know, I can't do any of the things that I want to do because I got to do this,
Right.
and so for me that's kind of like a me versus me mentality, but it's like it's like I got to fight me so I can, but you're still kind of doing something that you desire. It just looks different.
Right.
It doesn't look as sacrificial.
Right. Well, speaking from great experience, because I am completely 100% guilty of doing this myself. I find that one, when I'm talking about what it is that I do, it is sacrificial. But when I talk about it, I talk about it because I love it so much. Not the sacrifice necessarily, as
Right,
much
right.
as what the work is about, and I have such a passion for it. But at the same time, I end up finding myself talking about all the great things that I do. Okay, well, I'm not doing them for my glory. I'm doing them for God's, and um, what does it matter? And what am I really communicating to you at that point?
Right, right.
When I think that the problem comes in that when people don't feel as though somewhere subconsciously that what it is that they're doing is really as respected or appreciated, maybe is the better word, then uh, they feel like when they have an opportunity to gain a little foothold of recognition, that they just take it sort of instinctively. And ministry is so often a thankless type of work. Now, when we're talking about just someone in general doing something in life, it so often comes down to still a self esteem issue.
Right.
We're still looking for some kind of edification of who we are and what we do, and that what we're doing has some validity to it. It has some meaning or purpose. And because we don't always necessarily get that message from God that says, "Hey, by the way, good job, bruh." You know, we just don't.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and, and it doesn't matter whether it's ministry work or anything else. All of life is really a ministry. So I don't mean to downplay that or to upplay something else. But when you have died unto yourself completely and given yourself completely to Christ, um, then there becomes this disassociation from all the worldliness. And so, whether it's material things, man, Grandma Donna made chocolate pies for our bake sale.
Right.
Now, for those of you that are listening, and I think this is probably the vast majority of our listeners, you don't know about Grandma Donna's chocolate pies. Okay, these are the chocolate pies that like people pay way more than what they're really truly you could pay for them anywhere else, because whatever it is that Grandma Donna does to these chocolate pies, they're so awesome.
It's called MSG. Correct. That's what it's called.
Grandma's fingers. I don't
That's
know.
a special
Anyway,
message MSG.
she just she makes these pies and they're just awesome. They're just little individual pies. But anyway, but I had set some aside, and they got sold without me knowing. Okay, I had not died into myself and given myself to Christ at this point in time,
man.
evidently, because somebody walked off with my pies.
Did you already pay for them?
No, not yet. But the person that did wrote an IOU, so I mean, no better. Anyway, but I was expecting to walk in and be able to have my pie today.
Right.
And I had no pie. I was not completely giving up of myself. And and I think that's where, again, it's a spiritual condition. Have I been reading my word? Have I been reading the word lately, as I ought to? No, I haven't. I'll admit that.
Shame on you.
Have I been in prayer as I normally should be? Yeah, maybe not. Not to say that I haven't.
Right.
But just that probably not to the extent that I ought to. And so that affects my spiritual condition. So then I'm not as okay with like, oh really? They got them? Oh, that's awesome. I know they're gonna enjoy those pies because those pies are really good. And I'm so glad that they're able to contribute to the fundraiser. That's wonderful news. Instead of where's my pie at? Where's my pie at?
So I mean, another aspect of this, and kind of talk about is, what does it mean, and because not everybody who listens to the show might be.
I don't know. I'm still thinking about pie.
A long time matured Christian, dying to yourself. Like we always hear, die to yourself, die to your old ways. I think a lot of times is that just sinful ways? Is it just because here's the thing, we've already broke down the word sin before.
Right.
Sin is anything you do outside of Holy Spirit guidance. I mean,
right.
So that a lot of things can be a
Yes.
sin. Tithing can be a sin.
Yes. So the answer is yes.
Yes. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, you already took it there. So if it's anything short of the guidance of the Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit wasn't saying, Sean, yo man, get your pie. He didn't say that.
But a new believer doesn't necessarily always have an initial connection with the Holy Spirit. So for them, when the pastor says die to yourself, what are they supposed to do? Yeah,
they're supposed to seek God. Seek God. Take a step back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Commune with God. Father God.
Who's Fraba?
And totally messed that up, right?
Goose Fraba? Goose Fraba?
Who's foie gras?
The Goose Fraba.
I don't like foie gras.
Goose Fraba.
Anyway.
So.
Yeah, no. That's the thing about new believers, man. It's one of those things. Is there a right answer exactly? Hey, I'm going to tell you, read your Bible, seek God's counsel, seek wise counsel.
You can see his eyebrow moving. He's like looking like the.
Anyway. That's what you're supposed to do, right? And until you start to learn to listen and know and recognize when the Holy Spirit's speaking to you. So,
Well, I think a lot of people, when you hear, die to your ways, carry your cross, all these things, it makes it sound like you're not supposed to enjoy life at all.
No,
like anything that makes you happy.
You're not.
When you become a Christian, you're supposed to just sacrifice anything that makes you happy.
Completely miserable.
Yep. That's what we're going to tell people.
Yep.
So look,
that's exactly
become a Christian, give your life to Christ.
Actually,
and your life's going to be completely miserable after that because you can do nothing that you enjoy because you're dying daily.
It is. It's actually freeing. Frankly, there is so much a part of me that wants to say, you know what, I do want to go ahead and get rid of everything that I have that's earthly. I want to just totally start over with a clean slate, just enough clothes to be able to wear, and my Bible.
That's good. You need your
And
books.
that's it. Yeah, well, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And my Bible. And that's it. No other books, nothing else to distract me. No TV, no movies, no video games, not even my cell phone,
No
nothing.
pastor? No
Huh?
church family?
No, that's not what I'm saying. My personal stuff. I'm just talking about my personal stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
No, I'm just wondering. Clean slate.
Well, okay. Anyway, so to be able to say that, so I don't have any of these other things to be able to.
It just.
Pastor? I don't even remember where we stopped. You're like, go ahead and start now. I don't remember where we stopped.
I said no
computer
pastor?
messed up. The pastor? I don't know. Anyway, so no, just get rid of all of the things that I have that complicate my life and totally simplify. Just get rid of all the garbage and start over. And in a way, that is symbolically what you're doing with your spiritual life. To be able to say, you know what, emotionally, all the baggage that I have, that I've been carrying, that girlfriend that dumped me, the girlfriend that used me, the girl, wow, that's a lot of girlfriend issues, isn't it? Anyway, my mommy daddy issues. I'm gonna take all that stuff. I'm gonna take all that baggage. I'm gonna take all the clutter that I have in my life, and I'm just gonna chuck it out. I'm gonna start over because it's just you and me, God. We got this, right? I'm not saying get rid of my wife and my kid, no, or
That's
pastor,
illegal.
but to be able to say that
So you're gonna keep your pastor?
pastor will
Okay.
keep, yes,
All right, good,
His-
good.
his cold soft hands.
I'm glad he'll be good to know that. Or happy to know
He'll
that.
be good to
He'll
know
be good
that.
to know that.
He'll be noted good that. I don't know. What did you say?
Well, I mean, the only reason I said pastor is because a lot of people, like, for them, like, their pastor is, it's like a comfort, I don't know, it's like a comfort blanket for a lot of people.
Well,
And I guess
his
it's just
hands
to
are
be.
soft, so that'd be like a blanket.
Alright, man. We'll skip over that. Let's skip over
Are
that.
you gonna edit that out?
No.
No.
I never edit this stuff out.
Oh.
Maybe the
okay.
part where the computer was screwed up and you come back and you said, I don't know where we stopped at.
Okay.
That's going to stay in there.
All right. Well, good.
So.
Hey, that's why people like this show. We're not glossy.
People
we
like
don't
this show?
pretend. Yeah, there's like 2 people that listen.
Okay. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean they like it.
Well, who would listen to something they don't
Background
like?
noise. Background noise.
Background noise.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
I still wouldn't have a song in the background.
alright, so dying daily.
You could have ducks quacking and that'd be better background noise.
Dying daily.
Dying daily.
Um,
That's just renewing your mind and your spirit. I think actually every single morning is part of that process. You wake up in the morning and you should be starting with prayer. You should be starting with reading the Word. And that's part of that process of that dying. To say, you know what, God, today is a new day. Whatever was yesterday was yesterday. So let's start new today. And I want to follow you. I want to be in total commune with you. And I don't want anything for myself. I want it all for you. Tell me, show me that I may glorify you in today. And that, to me, is the dying daily.
well, see, and whenever I think about this type of the wordage and stuff used around these concepts, I kind of think about fasting.
Okay?
Like, you fast. I mean, I'm gonna try to start studying fasting pretty soon, and but it's like you're putting something off. For a lot of people, it's like they fast breakfast, so they won't eat breakfast, and they'll just use that time in prayer. And so whenever I think of dying daily,
That's the worst thing to fast. Did you know that?
well, it starts your day off good. So yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. It's
But-
the worst thing to fast.
But so many people are so dependent on it that they have to relieve themselves from being dependent on breakfast.
Okay, so fast coffee. You still need to put nutrition to your body. Your body doesn't have to have the caffeine. You think it does, but you don't have to have it, right? That's what I'm saying. You really have to. And you're diabetic. I don't think it's a great idea for you to skip a meal.
Ah, that's fantastic. But I mean, just or a lot of people just do like I don't know. I've heard people say fast delicacies, which doesn't make sense to me because fasting like delicacies that's something you eat all the time.
Oh
So
yeah, it is.
you kind of like what?
Oh
What's an
yeah.
example?
I do.
I'm not asking you what you
Well, I can't anymore. I mean, bacon would be a delicacy to me right now, and I used to eat bacon daily, and I can't eat it anymore, man. So cheese was every day. It's a delicacy to me now. I can't, actually, it's not that. It's more like an explosive or something. It's like plastic. Or something.
Man.
I eat it and everything blows up.
Yeah, this conversation's pretty much gone nowhere.
Yeah. So
I was hoping something
it's
good
you
would come
versus
out of
me.
it. Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Or bad versus bad. Bad versus evil.
Which is you versus me.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know, man. I think the main thing that I've thought about is, and it kind of sparked from a question that Aaron gave me a while ago. I think we kind of talked about it at one point. Is if I'm doing something just because I enjoy doing it, has no useful thing about it, is it a waste of time? And I was thinking, like, is that what dying to yourself means? Like, I mean, I like reading comics because I like reading comics. It's just, I don't know. There's
No.
not really
I,
a
I think there's some confusion there because, honestly, you have to have downtime. You have to have something that rejuvenates you in a manner of speaking.
But shouldn't that be going to God, though? I mean, like, pulling yourself away from God to rejuvenate seems.
Yeah, but it's not the same kind of rejuvenation. I think sometimes there's a place for that. Just time that it can be where it just doesn't really matter what it is that you're doing, and you can find peace and you can find entertainment and joy out of that. I get joy out of reading comics on my phone, and I do a little bit of that every single day, probably more than I read my Bible. Maybe that's what's wrong. Should I be giving advice on the show?
That was a hard problem I had.
Hey, is this thing on?
I read about an hour
Is this
worth of.
on?
Yeah, it's
Hello?
on.
Hello?
Yeah,
Is this on?
it is on.
I can't hear anything. Can you hear anything?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello? Help me. Help
This show's
me.
going down the hill real fast.
You can't hear me.
Can you really not hear you?
What? Are you saying something?
I quit.
Okay.
This
Good night,
is
Gracie.
terrible.
Good night.
This is terrible. Alright, everybody, I apologize.
Do you?
I think we just ran out of things to say. So, should we still have things that we do that's not God affiliated?
No.
To
I
take a
think
break
it's
from
all
God.
simple.
You think it's awesome?
It's awesome.
Well, that's it, folks. Don't do anything that's not reading your Bible, watching Christian films, but they have to have proper theology. Christian music.
Nothing.
There's no good movie with proper theology.
Yeah.
That's another conversation.
Whatever you said.
I've actually thought about recently. I thought about whether or not artist theology should have me. There's been times where I've heard like an artist do a song, and their theology has thrown me off, and it's hard for me to enjoy the song.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a whole other conversation.
Frequently.
But like
Frequently.
most Christian music, I disagree with a lot of the theology on it.
I can't listen to most of it. I have to play only what it is that I enjoy listening to. And ironically enough, most of the Christian music I listen to is just that they're Christian artists. I'm sorry. Except for David Crowder. I do listen to David Crowder, even though some of his theology is...
Speaking of which, I forgot to mention this in the news.
He's on tour.
Snoop Dogg
What?
is releasing a gospel album.
Snoop Dogg. Crowder?
Snoop Dogg.
How does that connect?
I don't. Well, I had the thought of Snoop Dogg before you said anything about.
Is this thing on? Hello? Hello? Can you hear
Let's
me?
see, Snoop Dogg gospel album, which by the way, right now, he only has like 5 songs available to listen to, but it's a 30.
Because he's too high to release the others.
But it's a 32 track
And by the way, y'all, this is
album.
spiritual high.
Huh?
Huh? Hello, is this thing on? Can you hear me?
We're gonna go ahead and end the show. And the funny thing is,
What?
Sean's
What?
got to do the sponsor for Blended Fellowship.
Oh, what's that weird? I always do the sponsor for Blended Fellowship.
I know.
BlendedFellowship.com. You can learn more about the ministry. BlendedFellowship.com.
That it?
That's it.
We
That's how
are
it
still we are still trying to
That
raise
was my
funds
announcer voice. Didn't
for
you hear
the state youth convention.
that? Oh,
So
yeah,
if you
the
want to
state
help,
youth convention.
if you want to help kids go and hear the Word of God and have a great lifetime experience in a Christian community of people.
Actually, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Most of the times, I don't know how much the kids really get, but they do glean little bits, and it's at night at like 11:30 or 12 o'clock when they're stalling and don't want to go to sleep, that it hits them, and you actually get this really great opportunity to discuss something pretty deep with me. So,
True that. True that.
as exhausting as it is, there's actually some great benefit.
There is. So if you want to help out with that, blendedfellowship.com.
Yep,
You
you
can
can
hit
hit
the
the
donate button.
online button.
Top right hand corner. Is it still the top right hand
I
corner?
don't know. I haven't looked at the website.
Anyway, just put in the porch, state youth convention, whatever. SongmanSportsPodcast.com. You can go there and
Yeah.
donate on our PayPal.
Sure, just make sure that you do tell us that it's for the state youth convention.
Yep. And we also want to thank GenesisProDesigns.com for hooking us up with a great artwork for the show. If you need any kind of design work done, album cover, book cover, website design, I think even app design, there's a lot of things that he does. GenesisProDesigns.com. Genesis like the Bible. So if you don't know how to spell Genesis, just look at the Bible.
Like Derek Minor back when he was still making good music.
That's terrible.
Ooh.
And again, Covenant Eyes. If you want to protect yourself from Sean, then make sure you get Covenant Eyes. Go to SolomonSportsPodcast.com. There's a link there or on our Facebook page to make sure you sign up. So we get a little bit of the proceeds from that. And yeah, man, so that's pretty much it. The Me versus Me wasn't real productive. So I do apologize for anybody who listened to that whole thing. But we're going to end the show very productively. We got a song from Project 86. Guess what the name of it is?
Me versus me?
Ding, ding, ding. You are accurate, my friend.
Is this thing on?
My
Can you hear me?
Hi, y'all.
Hello?
It's over.
Hello?
We will see y'all in a couple weeks.
Can you hear me?
And I apologize. Let me mute Sean.
Hello?
Have a good week.
Can you hear me? Help me! Help me, I'm lost. Are you still there?
No. It's off.
Why aren't you there?
Oh, man.
Well, that was fun. Let's do that again.
Woo.
Alright, so YouTube. Thank you for joining us.
YouTubular?
YouTube here. You got
YouTube.
you wanna stop it?
YouTube. All right. Facebook, YouTube. Everybody watching. We do apologize. Y'all have a great day. YouTube's still up, so I'm gonna keep apologizing to YouTube until I hit the stop button. So let me see, and it's a done deal.